Greetings and salutations, my friendly people out there. Welcome to another video in my series where I'm looking at various AI coding agents and trying to determine how well they can help me answer the same basic prompt. Now, that prompt is essentially creating a new theme for my blog. And for each of these videos, I'm taking the exact same prompt, giving it to the agent. I'm seeing what it does. I test it in my browser, and then sometimes I chat back and forth to tweak things until I get to a point where I think it's pretty okay. So far, I've done Copilot in Visual Studio Code. I've done Google Gemini in Visual Studio Code, and today I'm going to use Cursor. Now, I have heard of Cursor for a while. I have not used Cursor yet. Obviously, I already installed it and played with it a tiny bit, but I am really new to it. It is built on the open source bits of Visual Studio Code, so it is really familiar. So that's that's a plus, and it seems pretty cool. And I can say even just playing with it a tiny bit so far, I think I'm going to use it some more. So let's actually get cursor up in front. And my prompt, and again, I'm using the same prompt every time, is I want to create a new theme for my blog. My blog is developer centric. My theme should consist of one HTML file, one CSS file, and minimal, if any, JavaScript. And I do tell it that it can make an empty JS file if it wants. No framework should be used. I don't want React, Vue, or anything. No build process. I just want the HTML and CSS. I am asking for a responsive design, and the main blog post homepage should have a title for each of the blog entries listed in reverse chronological order. Each blog post should have a date. And on the top level menu, I want home, about, speaking, subscribe, and also a search thing as well. After it makes that blog homepage, I then wanted to make a individual template for a post. And that post should include a date and a list of categories associated with the blog post. So I'm going to take all of this and we are going to give it to Cursor and see what happens. And it is going away, and I noticed that it is planning on making individual files for those sub pages. I believe Copilot did that and Gemini did not. I don't really need that, but it's fine. I'm not going to complain too much about that. Um, it is working now on the CSS and using a beautiful dark green theme. I like that it's beautiful. Now it is making the index.html page with 10 blog entries. And let's see, just working. See how long this is going to take. And while it does that, like I could open up the style, but like whenever I work with these agents, I'm always afraid like if I interrupt it, it's going to get mad or something. So, but we'll see. All right, so it's done the index page, and now it's making the individual blog post template. And in theory, this should be pretty quick, right? Because it already has a basic layout done. So it's just applying that to a post, but it doesn't need to be a bit creative in terms of how it lays out the post and so forth. And that is done. I should say, let me bring this over here. I have my Explorer window open, and you can see it's just plopping stuff out. And now it is making the sub pages, which again, I did not ask it to do that. I just said I wanted to have my navigation. But worst case, I will just get rid of them. Like I imagine I'm going to need to tweak the design a bit, and that may require me updating index.html and post.html. I don't want to worry about the other pages. So it is still working away. It did the about. It's doing the speaking. See, if it wasn't doing this extra work, I could start looking. Well, you know what? Let's see what happens if I open the file while it's still doing other stuff. We will open up the index file and just say keep all. And I will just do a quick sanity check. Nothing looks crazy here. And cursor is still working away. That's fine. Look at the CSS and keep all. And again, like, yeah, sure, that seems fine. Uh, like my sanity check is looking at the number of lines. That's not too big, I believe. Um, Although I'm seeing an animation there, which is interesting. Look at the JavaScript, empty, nice. That's what I wanted. Like I'm sure I'll have stuff there later. And yeah. Oh, and we'll look at post.html and keep all. And you know what? At this point, let's actually run a little web server, and it could keep going away at that. And we will take a look at that's localhost 8080, and we'll see what it did. Localhost 8080, and that is not bad. I like how big the text, like it's so big. There we go. My zoom was a bit big. All right. That is nice. It's really simple, very clear. I like the little highlight effect as I go over. Um, yeah, and I like the little icon there. Actually, that's kind of cute. And built with love for developers. I know I've seen that before. Interesting that all the dates are in 24. I saw that in my last test as well. But let's go into a post. Oh, okay. I love the background color. I love the post, how it stands out. I like the code view, although I'm going to replace that with Prism and related post. I didn't ask for that, but I could get rid of it if I want to. You know what? This is a case where I think I'm not going to ask it to do anything. Let's see if it's still working. Uh, Beautiful. It's yeah, it's done. Beautiful dark green color palette. Responsive. Knows a little bit of issue there in the chat. Uh, yeah, I feel like I should at least ask for one change just so we could see how it adapts. And I'm thinking, I like the about page. It's making stuff up for me. That's great. Speaking engagements. I'm speaking at a web before. I'm definitely not speaking at ReactConf. Um, let's think of I really don't want to tweak anything. Like I am seriously happy with how this looks. And you know what? I think I'm just gonna leave it as is because why mess with it if I'm happy? And like I said, I will probably get rid of the sub pages just so it can have a good generic template that I would use in my engine of choice or whatever. But I am really happy with what this generated. Now, I will say I did do a test earlier and it actually created some JavaScript. So I'm happy it didn't do it this time, that it kept that pretty much empty. And the little bit of animation is all CSS based. That's nice. But yeah, I think the only issue I found was the chat outputting some broken characters right there, and I can get over that. Anyway, this is great turnout, a great output, I should say. So, as a reminder, all of these sample outputs are going to be in my GitHub repository. I have GitHub page views, whatever, turned on, so you can actually view this live. And I will link to all of that in the video description. Thank you for watching.